Hi, today in the afternoon I was talking to my sister-in-law and she made a statement. I was amused. The statement was that the life is a lie and death is a truth. Of course, I couldn't accept this because life is so lovely that each second of it is worth living. And death, it comes and goes just in a second. Life can extend from 1 minute to 100 odd years. That instantaneous. So how can an instantaneous thing be a lie, a truth, and a long, lovely lie? But then when we are talking of truth, my attention was diverted to another thing, and that's the tragedies that take place. It can be a disaster like a tornado, a tsunami, it can be a war, it can be pestilence, a pandemic. Are you aware what is the first casualty? People might say there's a human being. No. The first casualty in any tragedy is truth. The first thing to die is truth, whether it's war, whether it's pestilence, whether it's pandemic, or whether it's a natural tragedy. I'm amused. I once read during my study of the Second World War that both Germans and the British were claiming that they had killed the enemies in a large number. One enterprising reporter of BBC started calculating every day. And at the end of the war, he revealed that the total number of people claimed to have died by the Britishers and by the Germans, if total together, would be 1.5 times more than the total population of both the countries. Imagine a war takes place and the total population plus 50% more of both the countries is totally annihilated as far as the official information goes. And yet both the countries had people thronging the cities and the malls, thronging the villages, and the cities were bubbling with life. That is the casualty, the honesty, the authenticity, the truth. Look at the wars. I've given you one example, the second is more recent in India and Pakistan. I was amused when some Pakistani friends told me that in 1965 war, they had destroyed Chandni Chowk. And I told them that the nearest bomb that fell at that time was 250 kilometers up north near Ambala Military Hospital. And only the boundary wall of the military hospital was demolished. That was the total damage. Not a single person died. And they were under the impression, as per the propaganda of the Pakistani army. Same is true of India. I'm not saying that Indians are absolutely honest, no way. Believe me, whenever a war takes place, India would always say that more Pakistanis are killed, and Pakistanis would retaliate, more Indians are killed. But what happened recently takes a cake. I'm talking about coronavirus. Till now, we have been reading that about 3,343 people died. Some went to the extent of saying 3,500 people died. And the maximum number of the people who died of coronavirus in China was quoted at 4,000. While America has crossed 27,000 today, Spain 13,000, Italy 19,000, France 15,000, and so on. And then the imagination staggered. How could China, right from November to March, have only 4,000 deaths? And their stooge in WHO, Dr. Tedros, endorsed it. So when today President Trump officially announced, though I had told you 4 days back, that the funding to WHO has been stopped. But officially, it came up today. And it should have been done long back, but then anyway, better late than never. Coming back to what I'm saying, the real thing is, as per the intelligence reports, again, you cannot say they are 100% true. They might be 100% true, they might be 80% true, they might be 40% true, but whatever it is, when I compare 4,000 deaths to 21 million deaths claimed in the official intelligence reports, both of USA, MI6, and Mossad, 21 million people died. And the facts show that on 19th of March, 21 million cell phones went off and their owners are not claiming ownership. 840,000 landlines got disconnected because the application said that the owner has expired. Even if I took the low figure, official Canadian Chinese figure of 840,000 for the landline, it's much more than 4,000 or 3,500 that officially claimed by China. Now the point is, why is China doing that? There are two reasons. One is to demoralize the West, telling them that your country's governments are absolute fools. That Trump talks big and 27,000 people die. Macron thinks that he's a leader and 15,000 odd people have died. Italy is 19,000. Spain, 16,000. So it's a superiority of management as well as taking care of the people. That is to justify the appointment of China to the World Human Rights Commission. Of course, that's something different that they have imprisoned more than 1 million Muslim Uyghurs, that they have banned the reading of Quran, that they have banned and stopped the building of the church masjids. But let's leave those things aside. So truth was sacrificed for the sake of political victory. And I can tell you, such facts do come to light as this has come to light. But then when I consider 21 million people, till yesterday I was saying that we should not have any lockdown. Even yesterday I said, that's playing with fire and the future generations. But 21 million people in one country, and if the same thing happens globally, not much harm would be done. As a matter of fact, if up to 2 billion people die, the world might be a better place to live in. You might think that I'm an inhuman monster, the way I'm talking. But that's the reality of life. The second point I was telling you why China has said so is to maintain their lead in manufacturing capability. Till today, China has been number one in manufacturing products. Even India, most of the things that they exported were assembled in India but manufactured in China. Now, if more people have died in China than the people, the investors, the manufacturers would be very hesitant in continuing their manufacturing operations in China. As a matter of fact, Apple announced yesterday that they're shifting their manufacturing facilities from China to India. If that is so, China stands to lose a lot. And China cannot afford to lose. So, to maintain their hegemony in manufacturing, they resort to a very simple principle: tell a lie. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Hire somebody like the Director General of WHO to reinforce that lie. And as Goebbels, the propaganda minister of Hitler, said, repeat a lie 1,000 times and it becomes the truth. That's what President Xi and his henchmen and his stooges are doing. 21 million people die and they take comfort. Well, about 3,500 people have died. A friend sent me a question yesterday. Is it a fact that more people have died? He didn't know the figures. Yes, more people have died. As a matter of fact, in any tragedy, as I said, everywhere, and it's not only China, figures are fudged. If there's a tragedy, the opposition would always increase the figures to show that the government in power is useless. And the government will always reduce the figures while trying to show that they have concern for the humans and they are taking the best possible efforts to contain the tragedy and reduce the human life loss. So this is in fact always a war between the government in power and the opposition waiting to take over on the one side. The country on the one side and wanting to subdue the others economically or politically. And China is doing both. As a matter of fact, at the height of coronavirus in March, people were saying that one belt, one road project should be abolished. And then they said, but only 3,000 people have died, why abolish it? Now, when this figure comes up that 21 million people have died, people will start touching this road, one belt, the global trade hegemony and overlordship of China with a pair of tongs. They don't want to burn their hands. So this was, in fact, a political maneuver, an economic maneuver, and a public relation maneuver, trying to impact people, unsuspecting people. And when somebody talked to me and said, is it possible that in India only 700 people or people have died? I said yes and no. Because the MIS in India is not very effective. By MIS, I mean Management Information System. Even if the government of India is pristine pure, honest to the core, which it is not, no government ever is. Anywhere in the world, every government fudges the figures. And that's why I always say there are lies, there are damn lies, and there is statistics. These bean counters who are hired by the government to calculate are directed to make the figures what should be there, what ought to be there, not what is there. And China has, in fact, adopted the same policy. In fact, this suppression of facts is an important part of the art of war. The art of war might be from the military point of view, might be from the political point of view, or might be from the economic point of view. Always minimize your losses and maximize your gains. And China is doing that. Well, my 3,000 people have died. We contained coronavirus and Taiwan couldn't do, though in fact, Taiwan's performance is much better. So this casualty of truth raises an important question. Can we trust our governments anywhere in the world? The answer is no, a big no. The governments are there to rule you, to administer. They are there to create confidence, but not trust. Let's be very clear. And trust is one commodity that is needed if the work is to be done. But one thing I have found that in India, Modi has been able to generate trust of about 70% people. And that's a big gain. But how long would that trust remain is a $1 billion question. President Trump lost some trust in the beginning, but as the percentage of the dying decreases and the economy doesn't suffer, his trust factor would go up. Swedish is one country where honesty is there, trust is there, and the government still fudges figures. Let me tell you very frankly, but not to the extent China would do it, or India might be doing it. I do not have any report on India, so I'll believe what the government tells me, or what John Hopkins University's center tells. I'll believe that. But when I look at the figures that have come from China, I'm shocked, friends. And my statement again would be truth forever on the throne. Sorry, lies forever on the throne, truth forever on the scaffold. Truth would always be crucified, hanged, killed. As I said, the first casualty is always truth. The first casualties are always facts. So let's take the figures touted by the governments with a grain of salt. There might not be much truth in them. Might be some semblance of truth, not 100%. Think about it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.